is visiting Made You Look today. Made You Look is filled with local handmade jewelry. It's not only a retail space at the front, but they also are home to 20 resident goldsmiths who work out of the workshop in the back.
My name is Sarah Dougal and I'm the owner of Made You Look, and we've been here in Parkdale since 2001, and we represent 100 local designers, and there are 20 talented jewelers who make their work right on site.
What made you decide to start a shared studio space?
So I did the jewelry arts program at George Brown College, and at the time I thought that I'd like to make jewelry for my living, and it was through doing the course that I learned that there was a real need for a creation facility. So back in 2001, there was nothing like this at all. The options for a maker was to work from a home studio, maybe collaborate with a couple of people in an industrial space of some kind, but there was no model for a working studio slash retail setup. And so I basically dreamt up the idea to do this based on the need that I observed. Here was this community of really, really talented people who clearly knew how to make a product that, in my opinion, looked saleable and wearable and desirable, but nowhere to make it once they graduated and nowhere to sell it. This is before online stores existed. This was before people had websites. So we have to remember that as well, that this place was born at a different time. So I guess that's sort of the birthplace of our studio. And then since then, I have not been making any of my own jewelry at all. So I strictly became in the business of promoting others.
Challenges you've encountered in running the shared space?
So, setting up a shared environment, I think right from the get-go there's a lot of letting go that has to occur. What was important for me is what's going to make this space special is if it can reflect all of the individuals who embody the space. I don't think it would have been as successful if I came to this with some idea that I knew everything, that I had systems, that I had a plan that was mine and mine alone. I think the beauty of it is to let the people who are using the space help dictate how they would like it to be. So I think that is a tricky balance to find, because I think part of the nature of a true entrepreneur is to be a bit of a control freak and to have like really crisp, clear ideas about how they would like to see their world, and then to let other people into that space and say, you know what, no, I'm going to provide a platform for you to shine, for you to be you, and for you to use this platform to your best ability and to your advantage, and for us all to benefit from that collective energy. So I feel like that's the challenge. The challenge is the letting go, because I might want to micromanage. I might want to think that I know a lot about what I'm doing, but every time we introduce a new person into the space, I want that person to feel like this is their space too. I don't want them to feel like they're joining my cruise ship, you know, that where they don't have a say. I just don't think that that's conducive for the creative juices to be flowing. So I guess that would be the biggest ultimate challenge. And then, I mean, I don't even think I can speak to nitty-gritties. I mean, the essence of a shared space is that you have to respect each other's tools, and, you know, that goes without saying. So I think, you know, all of those things are manageable. It's more just my own process of letting it flow.
What changes have you seen in the last 5 years?
So the interesting thing about running a retail store is it was set up based on the very fundamental beliefs of location, 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 and having a beautiful store window, and having highly trained staff, and being open 7 days a week, and having a really high quality product. And those were all of the building blocks that I built my business on, and things that I really believed strongly in, and I was really careful about where we were locating. And then in the last chunk of time, 5 years, 10 years, with the increase in accessibility of online presence and shopping, it's changed my method of speaking to my customers. At first I thought my method was with my store and the Queen car going by and seeing that beautiful store window. And now I understand that my #1 method of communicating to my customers is on a computer screen, which is like a 2-dimensional flat thing that people sit at, which is not the way I want to communicate with the world. So that has been a challenge, and what I consider to be a major shift in the way that people trade goods. You know, jewelry has been a part of human history since the beginning of time. I got into this thinking that it was a really, really authentic thing to trade jewelry, to make something and trade it. And now that anyone can string a bead on a chain and have an Etsy shop, it's changed the way that we do business. So that's the major shift that I've noticed, and I've had to remind my staff and remind the people that I work with how important we can make a retail experience for a customer, and how they can be reminded of what extra bells and whistles they get from going into a store and interacting with a sales staff. And so anyway, clearly I could talk more about this, but I think that's the #1 thing that has changed the most over time in terms of running a retail store. Bridal jewelry tends to be a little bit more safe and conservative and not necessarily breaking all of the design rules. So as much as I wanted to be able to sell it, I sort of felt like it would be better to showcase it in its own environment. So we've expanded this room. Used to be, we called it the library, so we had our suppliers' catalogs and books, and now we've converted it into a bridal showroom. We also call it the Classics Collection, depending on which customer is in the space, and it's thematic. You can sort of see lots of pearls, lots of white, feathers, crystals, generally the muted color palette. And what's fascinating, so we basically had this room open for a couple of weeks, and it was very much almost a construction site for a while, and we were still inviting customers back, and we've sold a ton of work from this space. So that was kind of a good sign that this was something that the customers were able to understand, and I think they appreciate that we've sort of pulled this collection together. Brides often have a lot on their mind, so for us to be able to say, no worries, honey, guess what? Anything you choose from this room is going to work well. So that's kind of what we're doing, and I'm still learning about the space a little bit, but the room also doubles as a client meeting room as well, so we can do that in here too.